All right. Welcome in, everybody, to Locker Room Sports Talk. We got a special report to bring in here for you tonight. Hey, look, if you want to know about all these other teams that your team may run into, or about some of these teams that are going to be in the playoff, I mean, you're going to run across them at some point in time. So where else is the better place to come and find out right here on Locker Room Sports? I'm going to be breaking down Kansas State, and we got our special reporter in coming off sidelines right out from Cody's corner up here. Mr. Codi Amos, please give him a round of applause, everybody. He will be doing autographs after the show down at Big U parking lot. Thank you.
Going on.
Good to see you there, young man. Hey, today, I mean, this is what we do. We bring in people. We're going to give their specialty a shout out, and he's going to talk about the old Nebraska Corn Huskers. Nebraska is a legendary brand that's been around for years and years, from Osborne to back in the day to their Heisman winners and all the national championships that they won. But they've been on a little bit of a slide for a while. Now, after the freeze wore off out there, they feel like they've got the right guy in charge. Matt Rhule, which was widely known as being one of the great play callers that come through and fooled around the SEC some, been to the pros, and made a good name for himself, I think. Well, he has taken over now at Nebraska, and we're going to find out about them. Now, first off on the list, we got to ask you guys, if you come by the channel and you watch us every week and you haven't subscribed, because it shows us like 60% of our watchers hadn't even subscribed to the channel. So, hey, it's real easy. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. Help us hit 500, man. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, every Sunday night, me and Diamond Dean come on here. We break down all kinds of different teams during the season. We'll talk about our local teams, whether it's baseball, basketball, football. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. We have our media days will be coming up July 20th, right up here in town at Easy Street, up here at Gibbons Place. We've been doing it. It'll be our 4th year now that we've done this. And we like doing it, and it brings some attention to the kids and the coaches, and that's what we always want to do, bring and share a little love with our county. So, but every night, man, Sundays at 6, we're here live. And during the week, I like to come on here and do these extra shows. And Cody wants to tag along and do some, and we're going to keep him around and talk about some of these other teams, and we'll do SEC teams, and we'll do all kind of stuff. So right out first out of the gate, Cody, tell everybody who you are and where you're from, for case and all the thousands that don't know who you are.
I'm Codi Amos, 29. I live in Collinsville. Born in Center, been in Center my whole life. Went to school there at Cherokee County and graduated in 2013. And always been into sports. I mean, I played a few sports, played baseball in Little League, and played football 1 year and basketball 1 year. And so.
Now, and getting into this type of world and media stuff, I'll tell you up front, everybody has an opinion, but not many people have the guts to come on here and tell their opinion to the face of the camera. And anybody that wants to do that or has the gumption to want to come on and try to do that, I'm in all to try to help anybody that wants to do that. And everybody has opinions, like belly buttons, and some of them smell bad. So that's just kind of how it is in sports media, and you'll kind of get used to it. And don't let anybody try to rain on your parade and tell you what you do don't matter, because it's your opinion. So it don't really, other people's opinions are just that too. So you've spent the time and you've put the time in to study and do things on this particular team we're talking about today. But for future reference, you just shine on you and just be yourself. And it makes it so much easier when you don't have to pretend, because then what happens, you pretend you're somebody else and then you're the wrong person that day, and then people just think you're weird. So I just think it's just good for me to be my own weird self and not try to be the other 16 people that live in my head. So special report coming in here today. We're going to talk about Kansas State Wildcats 2023. Last year they had a decent year, but I want to first share by Chris Kleiman, Klieman, 56 years old. This is going to be the 6th year that he's been at Kansas State. Now, a lot of people, because of Coach D, he was there forever, coached a long time, won tons of games, and it seems like it just feels like he's still there, I guess. But this is the 6th year now for Coach Chris. He'll be starting his 6th year this year. Most of the time, he's been successful through the Big 12 program. This has been a very successful team, always has been. Kansas State is very well known. He tied with second most wins in school history, and he was a defensive back back in his time at North Iowa. And he coached a long time at North Dakota State, 2011 to 2018 was time he's now. He was head coach from 14 to 18. Everybody knows, we don't have to tell you about North Dakota State. He coached guys like Adrian Martinez and those type of guys in all his career there. So he's got a great list. Now, the new quarterback that he's going to have is Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson, he come in and played last year because everybody knows what happened. I think wasn't it Iowa State that beat Kansas State last? I think that was their last game, wasn't it, Cody?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
And the Cyclones just run up and down the field on them. So that was the last time we've seen Will Howard in a K-State jersey. Now, after a big cash bag, he's going to be a old stink eye up there at the Ohio State, Jeff Anderson's favorite team. I don't know if he's going to be on today, or I think he had a doctor's appointment or something. But so he left. So they got to go to a bowl game, of course. Well, they got to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl, and they played North Carolina State, and they did win that game. Well, we got to see this young man just a little bit. So I'll have a little bit more about him. Now, portal-wise, they did lose one of their quarterbacks, the Klein kid, Colin. He went to A&M, but they did bring in this big-time wide receiver, a Dante Cephas, Cody. This kid come in from Penn State, and we'll talk about him. And, of course, Dylan Edwards. You remember him last year at Colorado. Did you think he was a pretty good back watching him play out there, or did you see them play some? Or
yeah, I saw him play a little bit. Yeah, I thought he was a good running back for
sure. I think he's unpredictably fast, if that makes any sense. He's fast when he needs to be because, as running back, you need to be patient. You got to wait on your blocks. You got to wait on us. You got to wait on the big guys. Get out there and put those blocks down for you. So it's said to be, and I'll probably say this again sometime, this is supposed to be the best backfield in America. I'm not saying it. But a lot of media people were saying that about this running back room. Also, cornerback, Dunbar kid, a 3-star they brought in. They brought in a linebacker, Alec Mauricio, and a safety, Jordan Riley Scott. Some guys. Now, they did lose some guys, which everybody does these days. Everybody loses people. But the other guy to accomplish him, to be his accomplice there in the backfield, Dylan Edwards, is DJ Giddens. He's a junior this year. He rushed for 1,200, almost 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. So, but what makes it go, though? If it ain't for us, it don't matter how good the running backs does it. It starts up front, right?
Yep.
If you can't get something going up front, then it don't matter how good the tailbacks are. Now, let me tell you some more about this Avery Johnson, the quarterback. He was the number 1 quarterback in the state. He did play high school football too. 6'3", 200-pound young man, 4-star guy. Played at Mays High School. He was the number 45 in the nation overall quarterback coming out. Played 5A football there in Kansas. They did lose in their state championship game. The kid threw for 3,500 yards. You think that's good enough, ain't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
I believe that'll get it done. We just ain't seen him play a lot. So a lot of this is just going to be, out there. Now, the Dylan Edwards kid, he was a big-time player. He's got 3 years still remaining coming in from Colorado. He was a 4-star kid. He played at Derby High School. He he didn't get to play all the time. He did have to share some time. So obviously Coach Prime felt like they needed to move in a different direction, and Edwards didn't want to stay. I like him. I remember when he came, and I was keeping up with – I watched some of that well-off media that his son Bucky does, and I remember him coming in. I thought, he's going to be good. I think he's going to be just fine. Now, the wide receiver I was telling you about a while ago, Dante Cephas, 6 foot tall, 190 pounds. This kid played at Penn Hills High School. He was a 3-star coming out. Now, last year he was on the watch list for the Blitnikoff Award. So that has to be worth something, right? I mean, if you're on that award list, then it's got to be pretty good. 2021, he caught for 2,200 yards in 10 games. He's had 10 games that he's had 100 yards plus receiving. That's pretty good. Now, he come from Penn State. He come from Kent State, went to Penn State, and don't want to say that fast too many times. They wound up over here at Kansas State. So, obviously, he likes states, Cody.
Yeah, I would say so.
Kent State, Penn State, Kansas State. The WPIAL 6A Offensive Player of the Year in high school. So, he's not just your average kid. Now, defensively, they bring back a lot of guys, man. This is where I think this is some of the reason maybe that a lot of people are really feeling hot with this Kansas State team. Defensively, Austin Moore, he's a senior, 6'1", 220 pounds, 63 tackles. He was mentioned having the team high tackles. He's an honorary kid on the team. He also led with 12.5 tackles for a loss. There's another guy on here too that's got a crazy resume. He's like the Cal Ripken of baseball towards football. And Cal Ripken, for you younger guys, Cal Ripken, started his rookie year like in 81. He never missed a game. I mean, Cal Ripken, this kid they say he don't even miss practice. Austin Moore is going to be a senior. So these are the kind of people that you want to have a program that don't miss games, that are always at practice. Those are the kind of guys you want to keep around. Also, now sophomore, this name here, I always get these tough names, man. Chiddi, Shaddai, Obiazor, Obaduzar. Yeah, you got that right there, Northeast Alabama language. 6'6", 265 pounds. He's a defensive end, and his brother plays linebacker. His brother's name is Namiba, and he's a linebacker at TCU. This kid is a defensive end here at Kansas State. So obviously he's probably pretty good, you'd think, wouldn't you? I mean, if his brother's a freak athlete, yeah, he just kind of goes along with that train of thought. Senior safety, Marquette Single, Sigle, Sigley, big star by his name, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. Now, they say he could knock the headlights out of a 70 model Ford truck. Now, I don't know, but he did come from North Dakota State. In 2022, he had 63 tackles, and he was a Big 12 honorary mention, and he was the Defensive Newcomer Award. He went up with 8 tackles at Missouri and 8 tackles against Texas. So that tells me, Cody, I always like, when you look down the schedule from like last year's games, when you're picking out, I'll find a player and I'll go to their toughest games. And their toughest games probably was Texas and Missouri. He had his best games against those two. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty good.
What does that sound? Yeah, what does that sound like to you? What would you assume about somebody? If you find their hardest games and those are his best 2 games, what would you think?
I think he's going to be a stud. I mean, you do it against SEC schools.
That's, those are 2 good teams last year. Now, Missouri they did lose a bunch of kids. So that's now he's a safety, senior safety, Marquez Sigley, Sigle. Also a junior, 5'10", 185 pound cornerback with 44 tackles, 4 picks, led the team in picks. He had 13 passing breakups. He was 4th in the Big 12, and he did have a pick in the Pop-Tart Bowl against North Carolina State. In high school, listen to this. This is crazy. Sometimes I get in these kids and get studying, and I get in their high school stats. This kid played tailback, receiver, quarterback, and cornerback.
He done it all then.
I mean, he was everything but the water boy in the center. He probably could have done that if he was big enough. He rushed for 2,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. He caught 70 passes for 1,300 yards, school record, and he had 6 interceptions with 21 knockdowns, and he had 137 tackles. 55 of those was as a senior. Wow. Jacob Parrish. Remember that name for sure. Jacob Parrish, OJP, junior, Kansas State cornerback. He's 5'10", 185 pounds, so he's a small guy. Bro, wow. Now his older brother, it says here, wrestles at Nebraska. What about that? They got a list of players here, and here's here's the last one, another receiver. I always want to talk about the receivers. This guy, Joyce Brown, sophomore. He's number 1 on his jersey, number 1 in any hearts for Kansas State fans. 6 foot, 175. Now he played around Fort Walton Beach High School, and me and you both know what good's in Fort Walton Beach. These players. These dudes down there, 6 foot tall, 175. We said 440 receptions, 440 yards, on 27 catches. And I'm not going to even try to say the name of the high school he played at, but being in that area, you know how it is down there. They all got them Indian River names like the Chattahoochees and, Choctawhatee. Choctawhatee. I give it a shot, Cody. This kid played at Choctawhatee High School. If you're listening for Fort Walton Beach, I'm sorry. I just murdered the name of your high school. This kid is really good, man. He had 16 catches. He was the all-time leading receiver as a freshman in school. Listen, check this out. You ever heard of Tyler Lockett plays at Seattle Seahawks? He tied his record. Tied it. His dad played baseball for the Reds back in the 80s, and both his sisters play like semi-pro basketball. Let's see. He's the only receiver, too, that has made catches with Johnson from last year because the other two guys, went to the draft, whatever. So this Jayce, Jayce, Jace Brown, he's kind of young, man. I mean, he was a freshman last year, but good gracious. Now here's the bad part, and then we're going to get to the schedule. Man, they lost some linemen to the draft. They had a center and some guards. I went through just one of them. One of their guards, he was like 6'5", 330. I swear the list on the computer was like, it took up the whole screen. I mean, All-American, Offensive Lineman of the Year award. So they lost some really, really nice offensive linemen. But they do got this one that came back, and the others they brought into the portal, and then one of the others they brought up just come up as an underclassman. Offensive lineman Easton Kilty, Kilty, Kilty. He's one of the key returners for the offensive line. So this is where we got to be careful. And I mean, people are picking him to win the Big 12. Man, I don't. We'll look at their schedule here. I ain't going to try to sway nobody's opinion, but I'm just saying, guys, you win and lose games up front. I mean, that's just how it is. Now, last year, I'm sorry, go ahead. What now?
I was going to say that's where it starts at. You got to have your protection. You got to have offensive line to create the gaps for your running backs and get your offensive flowing. So it starts in the trenches for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're lying, especially with a veteran lineman that understand the plays, that they're going. They understand the plays that they're seeing from the defensive players, and they're talking. My son, Marcus played center, and you recognize stuff as you get older. The first year's tough, but the second year, you really understand and the third year, you kind of got a lot of things figured out. Well, when you first come up, man, just that knowledge of being out there, and this ain't playing, small school ball. Kansas State, they got it's not as bad as last year. So here's last year's. They lost to Missouri over there, 30-27, close. They lost at Oklahoma State, 29-21. Remember the thriller game they played at Texas, and they lost it 33-30 in overtime. And then they lost at home to Iowa State, 42-35. But they did win the Pop-Tart Bowl, 28-19 against North Carolina State. So it seems like, all their losses really come away. So if they can just clean up some of that traveling. So here's the schedule. This year, they're going to start off with UT Martin. Okay, October 31st, going to be at 7 o'clock, ESPN Plus. Nobody's going to watch because nobody hardly has the ESPN Plus. I would assume that'd be a win. Okay, the 7th of September, everybody get their pencils and paper out there. September 7th, they go to Tulane. It will be at there at Tulane. They're going to play on ESPN at 11 o'clock. It'll be about lunchtime. And here's the one, boy. This is a dark day. September, Cody, Friday the 13th. Jason will be wide awake right there in Manhattan for Kansas State's game as the Arizona Wildcats come to town at 6 o'clock on Fox. Now, Arizona's head coach, of course, he left and went to Washington, but they still got some players. But usually when you lose your head coach, a lot of players leave. So I'm gonna consider that a win. So we got UT Martin at Tulane, Arizona. Boom, boom, boom. 3. We got 3 in a row there. Then they're going to go to BYU. Now, this will be the first real test, I think, for Avery Johnson, quarterback, on the road against a tough opponent, a conference opponent. So I still think they can do it. I think they can get it done. So I'm going to give them a win at BYU. They're going to come home September the 28th. And this is the team that beat them last year, Oklahoma State. Now, State did play – they played Texas last year, right, for the Big 12?
Yeah.
And Texas took care of business there. You were stoked for about 450 yards, and they beat them like 50-20 or something. I don't know if they can beat Okie State. Now, here's what's strange. When you go through this schedule, the week before Kansas State hosts Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State will be at Utah. And Utah, we've done covered a spot on them pretty well.
Never easy going to Utah.
No, man, they're pretty good. I mean, they still got Captain Jack Sparrow back there slinging the football. I mean, that's what he looks like to me. I think he looks like Captain Jack with looks like he's got an eye mascara on or something in his hair. I don't have them beating Oklahoma State. Even though they're going to have Utah the week before, that could make a difference. Okay, it could. Now, going into the month of October the 5th, they're off. Then the 12th, Kansas State will be at Colorado. Now, Coach Prime and the gang, they are improved. He's starting to figure it out. He's got Warren Sapp out there helping coach the line. Warren Sapp, Hall of Famer, many-time Pro Bowler. They hadn't played out there. They ain't even played each other. They used to share the conference back, 15, 20 years ago. But since 2010, since Kansas State's played Colorado like this, and now they're getting to share the conference together again. It's been a while. I'm going to say Kansas State gets it done. I don't think Colorado's deep enough. I don't think they have depth really to take care of Kansas State. Now, then, after going to Colorado, they'll go to West Virginia. I have some people saying they're going to be decent, but I don't. I'm going to give them the win there on that one. And Kansas, they'll come home and have Kansas October the 26th. Kansas has always played them a good game, but Kansas has lost some guys from last year. They're not the team that they have been being the past couple of years. I'm going to give them a win there. Then they go to Houston November 2nd. I'm going to say win. November 9th, they're off. And then they got a bad little curve here. November 16th, they go home here. Kansas State host Arizona State. I'm going to put an L by that one. Then the 23rd, they got Cincinnati. And then the 30th, this Iowa State team, for some stupid reason, they lose to them. They can't beat them. I don't know what it is. I mean, dude, we're talking about the Cyclones. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, Iowa State, they just have trouble with them, man. They couldn't beat them last year. That's a must-win game. Kansas State has got to beat Iowa State here November 30th, that closing out that week there. They've got to win that game because you know what it's like. You don't want to win no game late. You don't want to lose a game late in the season because it hurts hurts the reflection of the team. Here's a little bit of disrespect, and I'll keep this topic, and we'll do a little bit of news in between here and let you get your spot because I want your opinion on some of these topics. The West Virginia game they play on October the 19th, when they go to West Virginia, that's West Virginia's homecoming. What do you think about that? They scheduled you for homecoming. But West Virginia will have Iowa State the week before them, and then they'll be at Arizona the next week. So I don't think it's going to matter. Houston is off the week after. They have Utah the week before. Iowa State game, they'll also have Utah the week before at Utah. Colorado's off the week before. And at Colorado, guess who's their homecoming game again? So Kansas State is Colorado and West Virginia's homecoming. I mean, who do you usually play for homecoming?
Like UT Martin, Louisiana Monroe.
It seems a little. That seems a little disrespectful to me. I don't know. I mean, you schedule a team that you're going to play, a team that has brought a lot of guys back, especially defensively. They got some offensive line troubles. They do have a new quarterback. Usually, I just don't see I don't know if you want to schedule a Power 5 team for homecoming, man. I mean, hey, look, bro, you smoke them if you got them, I guess. I don't know about that. Now, here's the good thing. No Missouri and no Texas this year for Kansas State. So I'll give you the players. We talked about last year's schedule, the games they lost. We talk about this year's schedule. Last year we talked about Texas beating Okie State. Does Kansas State have a shot to play, I don't know, maybe Utah or maybe Oklahoma State, Okie State may make it back to the Big 12 championship game again. I'm going to say UT Martin. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could see them. I'm going to put them at 8.5. I'm going to say they could win 8. They may win 9, but man, that they cannot lose that Iowa State. They can't. They're going to have to go up there and win. That's what happens.
I think a 9-3 or 8-4.
Yeah. They'll have to win that. They'll have to win that Iowa State game, and for some reason, man, they give them trouble. What do you think about? Did you look through their schedule a little bit? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I looked on it briefly, but I'm gonna say 9-3 or 8-4. I think I think Arizona will beat them. I think Arizona. I'm pretty high on Arizona. I think they're going to be pretty decent. I think Arizona will get them. For some reason, I feel like they'll lose at Colorado. Uh, maybe Oklahoma State. I see 9-3 or 8-4.
There's a, and the thing is, it's hard. This team's really hard to call. We don't know, man. The quarterback Avery Johnson, he may be, great. Now, from what we've seen, I liked what I saw last year. He played in the ball game. He looked good. But it's kind of like Nico at Tennessee. He come out as a, real high ranked Elite 11. I did a big coverage spot on him last summer. But we just seen him play a little. So we're really assuming a lot. Like we're putting a lot of our chips in the basket, is what I'm saying, with this Avery Johnson kid. Dude, he may go up here and just flub out. They got to go to Tulane. And Tulane has been, decently a good game here. Dean, that's Todd says that, Tulane may be a tough game. It may be. They've snuck up on some people. At BYU, playing over there, man, in front of the live Mormon crowd, it's not an easy place to play. They bring fans, dude. They're loud. It's not the easiest place to play at. It's going to be his first real kind of conference road game, okay, this quarterback. He may blow it. They may blow the BYU game. Then they got to come home and play Okie State. Say they dump that game. Then they're off. Then they got to go to Colorado. Well, you may catch Colorado. What I say about them, they're off the week before. So Colorado's coming off a bye, and it's their homecoming. So Colorado's going to be jumped, dude. You could get into a mess of a schedule here. They beat Martin. They go to Tulane, win that one. And let's just say they beat Arizona. They're feeling good. But then they lose at BYU, and then they come home and lose to Oklahoma State, Coach Gundy. And then they're off. Then they got to go to Colorado's homecoming. There, what it's going to be like in Colorado for homecoming. They're sold out already. Coach Sanders has got stuff, popping. And then they're going to go to West Virginia, and West Virginia is not like going to Virginia Tech, like when the Sandman song kicks off and the sandstorm and all the stuff, like. It's not exactly the same. They get rowdy over there. When that Inner Sandman comes on, they come out to that. Metallica give them rights to play that song. I didn't even know that till like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They may be in a 1, 2, 3. They may be 3-2 going into Colorado's homecoming. And then they lose that when they're 3-3. Boy, you talking about that's why we're just going to have to watch the game. We're going to have to figure it out. So 8.5. They may win 8. They may win 9, but surely they can win 8. That coach, he's got to be a good coach, man. He come from, he's from North Dakota State. He coached there he was the head coach for 4 or 5 years. So he knows what he's doing. And they lost some games on the road. 3 of them were close. So if they can clean up some of those road games, that's not a terribly, terribly easy schedule. The only reason it makes that schedule there is a little bit harder is because of the road travel. That's what makes it a little harder. Now, enough about Kansas State. News around the land. Cody, Jerry West, the face of the NBA, he's actually the logo guy, passes away today. I know he was a Laker forever, played in the 60s, won championships. He's a West Virginia guy. Speaking of West Virginia, he played college ball, out there. So, prayers for his family, and he lived to be, I don't know, he was 80 something. Was he? What did they say he was? 86.
Yeah, he's 86.
That's pretty good life, ain't it? Yeah. If I live to be that old, I'll just count my blessings too. Other news around the way. Tell us about this AHSAA and the rotation of the fields. Tell us what you know about that.
Yeah, they are going to be stopping the rotation with Auburn and Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They're stopping it because of the college football playoff expansion. It's because Auburn, like the home team's going to be hosting, so it could be played in Auburn, Alabama, college football playoff games. So they got to stop that rotation. And of course, this year's state finals are going to be at Birmingham. And then I guess we'll see in the future what they decide to do. I mean, there's a lot of other campuses you could have it. You got JSU, you got Troy. There's several places you might could also do it, but I don't know what direction they'll go with that.
Yeah, having a new director will be Mr. Howard. I think it's a good time to have somebody new in because NILs are fixing to start happening. Also, for high school around the state, they're going to have to vote on that pretty soon. And speaking about other locations, Birmingham Southern has closed their campus, right? Well, they got a football field, right? Yeah. Troy. I mean, but here's North Alabama. I mean, we got UNA up here, right? It's not a huge place, but we're just talking about playing a high school state game. You could come up here and play. There's some cool ways they could do this. And I've talked about this for a long time, a couple of years. And I don't think I have anybody agree with me on it. And that's fine. I mean, it's my crazy world. I used to, before Legion Field days, like back in the day, teams would play home games. You could draw for the higher seed would play their state championship game at home, and the other team would have to travel. Now, I know you're thinking, well, that's, crazy, but if it's a 7A school and, if Auburn is playing Central Phoenix, I'm sure the other team can handle the other team's crowd and their band and whatnot. You just have to have AHSA officials and stuff, which you have anyway for the playoffs. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like, I'm trying to think of a way to what it would do. It would kind of bring a little bit of glory to maybe a higher seed for winning more of your region games. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if you won more region games, then you'd get to host your state championship game at home. That would give some incentive, but because I'm telling you, it's coming. Just mark this down. When this NIL starts here, give it a couple of years. You're going to have games to where, this player may not play this game because they don't want to get hurt or something. Well, it don't matter if they lose the game because, we're going to finish second in the region anyway. So if we finish second, we're going to draw a 3. Okay. And that'll be an easy pick. Now, you don't want to be 4 where you have to draw a 1 from cross region. So what I'm trying to highlight winning all your region games. And then that way you maybe could host a state. I don't know. They're never going to do it. So they mean even talking about it. They're not going to have a state championship game. No team in high school ever get to host. They just won't. I've talked to a retired coach about it. And he's like, yeah, it sounds fun. And I understand what you're saying, but it's never going to happen. So I might as well just hush it.
I would be shocked if that happened.
Do what now?
I would be shocked if it did happen.
Oh, I know. It ain't going to happen. It would be fun, though. Imagine Turkey County, they win all the region games here, and then they hook up and play, say Booker T. Washington is the next team that comes through and wins all the South games, and I'm just using them for example. I have no idea who's going to win the North or South. I'm just making hypotheticals here because we don't pick games. Well, it wouldn't be cool for Center if they had to go down to Booker T. Washington to play. But, I just think it would give I'm trying to build some kind of a need to win regions because it's going to start happening. I'm telling you, it's the same thing. These kids taking games off, man. These college games, it's happening, and it's going to start happening in high school. And you have to give an incentive. I mean, we're having to pay the kids now. They're having to pay them $500 just to give them a free copy of a video game to put their name in a game. You know, so AHSA making that rolling, and we knew that would happen. And here's a cruel joke, and some people will not find this funny, and I'm just repeating this, but they said, I didn't say this, that there was no need to them to rotate Auburn off this schedule because they'll never be in the playoffs anyway. I didn't say it. Don't shoot me. I'm just reporting what was said. Okay, I'm just repeating it, and it's not really funny. Okay, Cody, stop laughing now. You know Auburn's bad, and they ain't had a good year, and it's been a while, and all that kind of stuff. Oh yes, talking about homecomings, I want to keep that point. Did you see that Georgia scheduled Auburn for their homecoming?
I did hear about that.
What do you think?
That's crazy. I don't know.
If you're an Auburn fan, are you mad or I mean, how you feel about that? Maybe we need to get some Auburn fans. Y'all comment, man. I know we got people watching. Are you mad that Georgia scheduled you for homecoming? Let me think about this as high school. Okay, we'll use our high school teams that we both were a part of. Your rival team schedules you for homecoming. I could understand you being a little PO'd, wouldn't you?
Yeah. That'd be like Piedmont scheduling center for homecoming.
Boy, that would go over like a sack of bricks, wouldn't it? There'd be some people, they would be fired up. And I understand that's good, get fired up. But here's what I heard some fellow Auburn people. He said that, there's really no need to be kind of upset about it. I mean, when's the last time? How long has it been since Auburn's even beat Georgia? How long has it been since Auburn's beat them? I don't know. I can't even remember when Georgia. When's the last time Auburn went to Georgia and won? I would have to look it up. I mean, I'd have to spend a few minutes, to Google search that. It's been so long. My point is it really a knock against them? Because, I mean, obviously they've owned the series for a long time. This sort of fired the Auburn people up. I mean, if a player can't get fired up because you got scheduled for homecoming against, it's said to be the oldest game in the South, right? The South's deepest tradition, right? And Auburn is going to be homecoming for Georgia.
Yeah. If I was the players at Auburn, I'd be fired up. I'd be ready to go in there and ruin Georgia's homecoming.
You darn right. Yeah. What else will we go kick around here? Oh, game 3, Celtics. You got any? Are you a Celtics guy? Are you pulling for them tonight? Or they play here at 7:30? We've got about an hour and a half. Fired up about that?
Actually, I like the Golden State Warriors, but for the finals, I've been pulling for the Mavs. I kind of want Luka to get one, but I think the Celtics they're too deep for the Mavs, and I think Luka and them, they need help. I think they need one more piece to get there.
Yeah, I'm a big Kyrie fan. I've liked him since he hit the game winner to help win LeBron a title up at Cleveland. He is so darn, man, he's smooth with the ball. Wow, he's good, man. Kyrie he's fun to watch. So, I wish him success. Personally, I don't care for him. He's a flat earth guy, and I could do a whole show on that craziness. But professionally, I think he's great. He's fun to watch. And Luka, I mean, of course, there was a meme or something that showed him his numbers. How'd that go? I'll mess it up. His average points a game and average field goal percentage through the first, I don't know, like 5 years of his career, and points he scored were better than LeBron's. Have you seen that little meme or something that's been out there? I think I may have shared it on the page. Yeah, y'all, when y'all get done watching over here, hey, hit the thumbs up while you're watching there on Facebook. Run up that love button, hit the thumb, and on Twitter, you can repost this, share it over on your page. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. I mean, it don't cost anything. It don't do anything. When you hit subscribe, nothing happens. You're not going to get a pop-up. Hey, give me your email. I need your social security number right now. Can you please tell me we got you in for sweepstakes to win all trips, paid vacation? None of that happens. You just hit subscribe, and it just says subscribe Locker Room Sports. That's it. That's all that happens. We're trying to get to 500. They need to win this game tonight. The Celtics need to. They really do. Now, Pozinga's not playing. He's not playing tonight. He has some kind of injury. I don't know.
You ruled him out already?
It just said rare injury. That was the quote. And this was Stephen A. and some of the guys talking about it. I found it today. So, but when he does not play, they're like 8-1, or statistically speaking, they're going to be okay with the Celtics. Will be with Pozinga, with him not playing tonight. So we'll kind of see.
I just want to see a good 6-7 game series, really. I know you probably don't, Celtics fan, but
I don't care as long as we win. Man, I've been waiting so long. I mean, gosh, man, it's been a long time, and they've had squads, and they've been there, and it's been a while, man. We're talking about like Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and the other guy. What's his name? He's on the show with Skip Bayless. God, I can see his name. I can see his face. Anyway, this team's good, man. I mean, Brown and all those guys, dude, I was kind of worried going in. We talked about it Sunday. It kind of felt like to me that Boston hadn't played anybody. But now, the way it looks, we're all completely wrong. They look pretty tough, man. And looks like the Mavericks are really struggling. I thought, man, I mean, are they going to be able to cover, who's going to cover Kyrie? I mean, for God's sake, Lukic and all those guys, I mean, crap. Who's going to, how's that going to work out? How's this going to, probably more than likely, and me and you both know this, the Mavericks probably win tonight. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah.
They probably will. And I don't want to be that guy with that show with the tinfoil hat, and the guy that's got the fish in the tank over there. I don't want to be that guy. Well, they're going to win tonight because they got to make this into 7 games because they got to make money. I don't want to be that guy. But, I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. Last game was 105-98. I was going to say who had the most points that night. P.J. Washington with 17. Good gracious. And, of course, Doncic had 32. Wow. They're a tough team to beat.
Don't let Matt fool y'all guys on here. He's going to bring that Mavs hat out after the show goes off.
No, yeah, no. You know what? I used to like the Mavs a little bit. Who had Holiday had 26 the other night. Wow. Tatum had 18. Tatum's rocking, man. He even had the tongue sticking out. And Porzingis had 12 coming off the bench the other night. Yeah. And I shouldn't let it alter my liking or non-liking of a team, but the Mavericks owner, what's his name? Mark Cuban. bro. I'm just not a fan. Same. I mean, personally, I can not like somebody, but professionally like the job they do. But him, I don't know, man. He aligns with some crazy stuff, and it's some of that stuff is just hard to get through. Knowing that there's people out there that support things that are just totally against everything I believe in my heart. It's hard to even cheer for them. You know what I mean? Like professionally, because you know who they line up with, the people that they hang out with. I don't know about him, man. He's one of them jab guys. I just ain't. I'm just a little bit too much country boy for somebody like him, I guess.
I agree.
That's kind of some news around the area and stuff. So we want to talk about that. Try to get some news in, during the week, things that are going on. What did you think about Caitlin not making it on the Olympic team, but now they're going to put her as an honorary, maybe, somebody gets hurt, she may get to. Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it. I was kind of upset and shocked a little bit. Caitlin Clark didn't get on the team, but yeah, it is what it is.
She makes money. She draws a crowd, and I think it's foolish not to take her on an international. Even if she don't play a lot, let her come in, hit a few threes, whatever, and she don't play a lot, that's fine. But people will pay money to go see her, man, whether you like her or not. Now, this is the time for all you Corn Huskers to husky corn and pull you up a bucket and get your old corn cob pipe and your straw hat and sit down here and listen to old Cody tell us about the Nebraska Corn Huskers, all-time legendary team. They don't need any introduction. I mean, we all know who they are. Are they back on the prowl, Cody? Can they make a run at this Big 12 championship this year? Big 12. I apologize. At the Big 10 championship. They should be in the Big 12. See, I'm just saying things I'm thinking. I think it's so stupid they're in the Big 10. That's so dumb.
Yeah. I think they can. Their coach is Matt Rhule.
Yeah.
He's in second season there. He's 47 and 43. That's his college record. He took them 5-7 last year, and that was actually tying the program's most victories in the last 7 seasons. He coached at Temple, and he coached at Baylor, and he also was at Carolina. But overall, in college wise, he's he's progressed every year he's been somewhere. In Temple, his first year he was 2-10, and then he went 6-6, and then 10-4, and his final year was 10-3. And then Baylor, he went 1-11 his first year, then he went 7-6 and 11-3, and he ended up being the 2019 Big 12 Coach of the Year at Baylor. Before he went to Carolina, he had a rough go in the NFL. He's 11 for 27 at Carolina. He got fired in 2022 after a 1-4 start, and then of course, Nebraska hired him. Uh, his offensive coordinator is Marcus Satterfield, and defense coordinator Tony White. They're both in their second season.
So he brought them with him when he came his first year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Offensive coordinator. This is his 8th season under him. He was with him at Temple, Baylor, and Carolina.
Oh wow, the defensive guy.
For the offense.
Offensive guy. Okay. So that's good stuff, man. That's why you need to subscribe to the channel. Okay. This is where you learn it, man. Come on.
Yeah. So he's got good relationships with his offense and defense coordinator. Defense coordinator, he was up for he's actually a nominee for Assistant Coach of the Year award last year. And he led one of the top defenses in the nation from what I read on. They was really high on their defense. Like I said, they went 5-7 last year. They was 3-6 in the Big 10. But 4 losses last year was by 3 points, and one of their losses was in overtime. So 5 of those games they're a couple plays away from easily being 10-2. The other two losses they had lopsided. They lost 45-7 to Michigan, which is the national champ,
That's
and then
okay.
they lost 36-14 at Colorado. So they also they lost to Minnesota, Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Iowa. And their wins came against Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech, Northwestern, Purdue, and Illinois. So that was how they fared last year. Um, Before I get into the players they had coming back from last year's team, the portal rankings, they was number 45. They had 7 come in, all 3 stars, and they had 10 leave. Um, Looking at a few of the ones that they came in from the transfer portal, and this is I listed 4 of them here that I read on. They're all going to be starting. Um, One of them was Stephon Thompson, linebacker from Syracuse. He started as a true freshman at Syracuse. He's played 36 games. He's started 21 starts. He had 169 tackles, 10 and a half sacks, 20 tackles for loss, and forced fumbles at Syracuse.
Now I tell you now, and I know what people are thinking. Well, this kid come from Syracuse and he had all these tackles. Well, they don't play nobody. Well, I mean, he's a 3-star kid. It sounds like, it don't matter who you're playing. It sounds like he exceeded the expectations from. He had a better than average years, and he started all these games. And I'll tell you that in today's game, obviously, this is the most hugely important thing: experience. These coaches are going out and getting these players out of the portal, and they don't have to be great, but they know how to play the game. They know how to show up to practice on time. They know about being in class. So, it sounds like he's got some experienced players. Is that what you say?
Yeah, yeah, they're going to be a veteran team for sure, with a lot of experience. They also got a guy coming, Dante Dow, running back from Oregon. He uh he didn't play much last year. He had 17 carries for 90 yards and 1 touchdown. But they are looking at him to be their starter, and hopefully can find a good running game with him, because Nebraska's leading rusher last year was their quarterback, and he had 477 rushing yards. So they're hoping this Dante guy from Oregon can bring a good running game in. Um, we also got 2 senior wide receivers coming in. One of them is Isaiah Nayor from Texas. Um, Last year he just had 1 catch, but in 2021 and 2020 he had 52 catches and a little over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. And he was listed the number two breakout player for Nebraska this coming year.
And where
And
he had over 1,000 last year. Well, and that didn't, I know you hadn't talked about the quarterback, Dylan Ravioli. Well, this guy coming back to be a receiver, that may be, that might be pretty good. That may be a good problem.
yeah, and then their number one player they listed that they're most excited about is the wide receiver coming from Wake Forest, Jamal Banks. Um, he has over 100 catches, 1,400 yards, and 13 touchdowns in Wake Forest in 2 seasons. And he'll be a senior. He was their number one listed player. Um, that was the little bit of players out of the transfer portal that they're looking at.
Right.
Uh, the returning starters, they got 19 back,
Yeah. Yeah.
10 on offense, 7 on defense, and the 2 special teams. Um, this is a defense that held opponents to less than 100 rushing yards per game last year,
Huh.
and so they know their defense is going to be there. but they're looking for an explosion on their offense. And then some of the players they got coming back from last year. Tommy Hill, cornerback, he switched from wide receiver to quarterback last offseason. He allowed just 25 catches on 46 targets for 243 yards and 1 touchdown. He is Nebraska's highest rated returnee with a defensive grade of 87.1. And that's Tommy Hill. They got Bryce Benhart. He's the offensive tackle. He's the senior. He's the leader of the O-line. He has 41 career starts at Nebraska.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, and he's going to be leading a pretty good O-line group. They got 3 seniors, 1 junior, and 1 sophomore on the O-line. So, Cameron Linhart, he's a defensive lineman, played last year. He played as a freshman. He has 16 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. And they're looking for him to play a bigger role this year. And they got Isaac Gifford. They like this guy. He played last year. He's a defensive back. This is his 5th season. 2023, he had 86 tackles, 6.5 for loss, 8 pass breakups, and that ranks 5th in the Big Ten on pass breakups.
Wow.
And another guy from last year, Ty Robertson, defensive lineman. This is also his 5th season.
Wow.
He had 29 tackles, 4 for loss, 1 sack, and 6 pass breakups. So they're going to have a veteran team, a lot of experience. It seems like for the guys coming back, and then the ones coming out of the transfer portal, and and of course you said something about the quarterback. He's going to be a freshman coming in from Beaufort, Georgia. Dylan
Ravioli from Buford, old Buford High School. Them boys don't do nothing but chew bubble gum and kick butt over there. And them boys ain't never got bubble gum. They got a stellar high school football program over there. He'll probably come in, and we'll look at the schedule when you start going through that. I mean, his first 6 games are not crazy. Okay. I know college is different than high school, but running wise, are they going to be it sounds like they got the offensive line, running back wise, who's going to be their male toter? Who do you think is going to kind of be their primary guy for toting the wood?
They're high on the Dante Dow kid from Oregon. They transferred in. They're listing him also. Right now, he's the number 2 back listed, but they're expecting him to take over the starting role. The running back last year was Gabe Irvin.
Yeah.
And he only had 196 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. But they're looking at the Dante kid to hopefully open the running game up. And
now, as far as it sounds like they got a pretty veteran team. And Coach Rhule, we kind of picked up on him at Baylor, and the offense, how he calls things, and he's got a good eye for what he does. And I don't think he got a fair shake, honestly, at Carolina. He was just kind of set up to fail to begin with. Wasn't that during the time when Cam was leaving or had already left, and they tried to bring him back maybe, and then they tried to sign that kid from Louisville, Teddy Bridgewater. They tried to bring him in and didn't work great. It seemed like there was a big mess going on right there, and it seemed like he just caught a lot of it, and he got fired, decided to get the heck out of Dodge and go on to college football where he can make probably nearly the same money. And I mean, you're dealing with playoffs now anyway, and NIL ain't no different than dealing with free agency. So, I mean, why not? And if he can go over here in Nebraska and he can win, I don't know, man. If they win 7 or 8 games, I don't think they're going to run him off. Highlighting the schedule there, looking at it, what are you thinking there? I mean, first they got Colorado, and let's see, week 2.
First 4 games got home.
Yeah.
UTEP, I think they'll beat UTEP. The Colorado game, it's a night game, I believe.
Yeah, 6:30 Central Time on NBC or Peacock.
I went back and forth. I think they'll beat Colorado, but it's going to be a good one. Northern Iowa and Illinois, I think they'll win both of them. At Purdue, sometimes Purdue's a tricky team. Sometimes
they are a very tricky team. If I don't know, last year, if you was watching the show last year, I give a statistic I'd found out. Cody, Purdue, while they're ranked and they play a number 1 or 2 team at home, they win the game 75% of the time.
Yeah.
That makes no sense at all. If you're number 1, you don't want to go to Purdue and play. I don't know why. They just have the upset gene. And I don't think Nebraska will be number 1 or 2. I do think they'll be 4-0 going to Purdue. That game is going to be at 11 o'clock. TV station hadn't been provided yet. But it's an 11 o'clock game at Purdue, and it's going to be September still. It's still going to be warm. So I'm going to give them. I'm going to say Nebraska. Yeah, I think they get by them. Then they go back home to play the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Dude, I share recruiting news every day. I'll go on the page and just put out where teams are ranked at right now. And I usually keep up with just SEC teams, but I'm pretty sure on 3 Sports, I think Rutgers was like, man, let me look right now, because that's just, I'm telling you, they're ranked in recruiting. I have no idea what's going on right now at Rutgers. Football, newsfeed, team rankings. Watch this right here. Okay, 24/7 Sports for the 25 class. Ohio State, LSU, Georgia, USC, Clemson, Bama at 6, Notre Dame, Oregon, Auburn at 9, A&M 10. Maybe it was 24/7 that had them. No, there they are. They're 20. They have they got like 5 4-stars. Yeah, so I guess they're spending some money up there in Lincoln, New England, up there in the guy talking about bad weather. So they will be home to host. Actually, it's homecoming. Oh God, what are we doing with homecoming tonight? Have you noticed the homecoming issues we've brought up? Have you noticed that?
Yep.
What is up with that? Looks like it's going to be on at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So we feel like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have 7-0 going to
at Ohio State. Ooh, boy. Now that game, they've got these 3 different time slots for people that are watching, and for podcast listeners, when you pull up this game, what that is, they're not sure about the times yet, but they're giving slots to where some of these teams may play these time slots. So the at Ohio State and Nebraska game could be at 12, 3:30, or 3 Eastern. So that's what that means when you go in there and look and you see. That don't mean the game's coming on 3 times that day. I'm sorry.
Ohio State's also, they're off the week before Nebraska. So
oh man, yeah. So they're going to be ready. They'll be prepared.
Now Ohio State they do travel to Penn State the week after Nebraska.
That'd be a good game.
I don't see Nebraska going to Ohio State and beating Ohio State.
No, man, this team is loaded. They have so many players, and I just went through that on 3 right there. Dude, yeah. Now, I don't think anybody's going to pick. Nobody's going to be mad if you pick Nebraska to lose to Ohio State right here.
Yeah.
And they come home and play UCLA.
And UCLA is also off the week before Nebraska. But I do think they'll beat UCLA.
Let's see.
Then they go to USC, which Nebraska is USC's homecoming too.
Uh-oh. See, there we go again. What is going on? Let's see here. Yeah, right there.
And they're also off.
It could be 3:30, 7:30, or maybe 10. It ain't 11 p.m. God, what y'all doing to us? I ain't watching no game at 10 o'clock at night. Out in L.A., that'll be 10 Central. 10, well, that'll be 8 o'clock out there. Man, they got to get rid of these late games. I can't do it. And then you got your last two there at Nebraska, bringing in Wisconsin. And we can look at their schedule. They got, oh, God, Wisconsin's hosting Oregon the week before. Whew.
Yep.
So do you kind of think Wisconsin may be wore out a little bit?
Yeah, I got Nebraska beating Wisconsin, and I got Nebraska beating Iowa.
Okay.
I think they'll lose to Ohio State, and I feel like they'll lose at USC.
Okay. I think that would probably be that'd probably be a safe pick. I don't think many people that would probably be the that'll probably be the consensus of most people. I think, and seeing them and their schedule and how it kind of plays out.
I could see them going 10-2.
Yeah.
Maybe 9-3 if they drop for Wisconsin or Colorado or somebody.
Getting Colorado early, maybe getting them early in game 2. I don't know if is that a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think? Think it'd be better to catch them early or what?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, with Nebraska already being a veteran team with a lot of experience, I think it'd be good to catch Colorado early.
For Coach Prime time, gets them all fired up and regulated. Yeah, if you're just running by the channel here, we just talked about Kansas State. You can go back, check it out after the show ends. And we talked about some news of Jerry West passing along and talked a little bit about game 3, Celtics and Mavs. They'll be on here in about an hour. And right now, we're looking at Nebraska. We kind of went through some of the players. And Cody said they got a pretty good-looking veteran team. Coach Rhule.
Yeah. You think if he goes 10-2 or 9-3, he could be up for Coach of the Year?
If he wins 10, he may be big. He may be a Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, and everybody knowing, man, what a trip they've been on, man. Nebraska's been they've been on the other side of the fence, just getting the mop water dumped on them for years. If he wins 10 games, I'd think it'd be not unless something ridiculous happens, like Colorado wins 10. Now, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But a big story like that, yeah, I would think, I think he could definitely be Big Ten Coach of the Year. If he comes, and if something crazy, what if something crazy happens? Let's just say something crazy happens. Let's say, I just don't, man, I'm gonna, let's just say that this USC game right here, now that's their homecoming. USC is going to be coming off a bye week the week before. Let's just say, the old Bear Bryant used to say this. Let's just say they didn't give 100% during the week of practice like the Nebraska players did. Let's just say that this guy here that's just not a real – he's just a good average player. He give extra through the week of practice, and he went from 75 to an 85. And that kid at USC that's an 85, he didn't give a lot of extra. What if they upset USC out there at Trojan Stadium out there on homecoming with Will Farah and all them big celebrities standing around down there on the sideline, and they just – Coach Rhule just pulls out something crazy. And, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying what if.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, that could put them 11-1.
Man, I don't know if they can. Have you watched Miller play last year? Did you watch USC's quarterback inning? He played that last game. He's good, man. Whew. He is good. I think his name's Max. I think his first name's Max. Max Miller at USC. He is really good. Yeah, I don't see why at all if they couldn't go. They can win 10 games. Now USC won. That was 8-5 last year, and I don't think that they didn't play last year. I don't think. No, they did not. I don't even know when the last time Nebraska and USC's even played. Last year, USC lost to Notre Dame and Utah, and then they done the last three: Washington, Oregon, and UCLA. How do you lose to UCLA? Come on, guys. How do you lose to UCLA? They went 8-5 last year. So there's the case, guys. We've put it out there in front of you as best as any two lawyers could do from Northeast Alabama area. And Nebraska's got a good chance to win 10, but probably would be I mean, their schedule lays out pretty good, but the two games that we suspect them to lose is you're playing at the two of the biggest teams in the conference. Yeah. USC and Ohio State. Yes, I know. I said USC. They're in the Big Ten. Ain't that crazy? That don't even make sense. Man, I've been watching football for 40 years. That's just crazy. It don't make a lot of sense. I'm glad that Colorado's back in. We got to get – man, Nebraska's got to get out of Big Ten. They're a Big 12 team, man. That's like Alabama being ACC or something. It's just stupid. It don't make no sense. Like if Florida State, they're talking about having this buyout, and it's pretty much already done. Like by 2030, Florida State's done. They're going to get out, and they're going – but if they go to the Big Ten, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense at all. What else you got for them, son?
That's about it, I think.
Any apple pie recipes, any weather tips, any sewing lessons, any adjustments on weight eaters or carburetors you'd like to share with the people?
I know it's going to be hot this weekend, so.
Okay. Carry your sunscreen with you. Wear shorts.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back on Sunday night, 6 o'clock. Everybody, we appreciate y'all for coming by and hanging out. And welcome in Cody here. He's going to come and hang out with us on and off some through the year. And if you see him around, holler at him. Say, hey, what's up? We love Cody's Corner, man. It's a breaking down football, bro. We enjoy that. And just give him a hard time. All right, guys. Yeah, man. Y'all go find him on Facebook. Give him a big follow over there. And like, subscribe, share. And we appreciate all the fans and everything he's done for us over the years. It's been a heck of a ride, and we enjoy it, and we look forward to seeing you back Sunday night, show 240. We got Tennessee. We got Texas A&M. We got Heupel's been there a little bit. We got Elko coming in, and A&M is supposed to be much better. And I'm going to talk about them and all kind of news, and we'll see what else we can figure out. All right. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week, and I don't know, stay cool tomorrow, okay? All right, peace.
See y'all.